Today we are headed to the Nether in Minecraft. What are the tips and tricks that you need to know in order to survive and do good things in the Nether? So here we are inside of Minecraft, and we're not even in the Nether yet because your journey to the Nether, it starts outside of the Nether because you got to prepare in order to really make your life easy, before you jump in. So let's talk about some of the things that I feel like you need to have with you when you are going to jump in. And first off is just normal gear, okay? This is like what you'd expect, picks, shovels, all that sort of stuff. But it doesn't need to be all that crazy because the Nether is actually, like, when it comes to like overworld, beginner, Nether, medium, the end, hard, I feel like the Nether is just really just like a medium area, and netherrack can be mined super duper easily. The creatures inside of the Nether, they don't really attack you all that often, really just the ghast, and then when you finally get to fortresses, they will attack you. But pigmen, they don't really attack. You might run into a few things, but you don't have to worry too much about evil mobs. And so really it's just a little bit more difficult than the overworld. So I don't even feel like you need diamond level gear to jump into the Nether. If you don't have full diamond set, that's totally fine. Just basically your normal gear. Now let's go down the list of stuff that's a little bit less than normal that I feel like you should add on to your normal gear. First off is a bow and arrow, because ghasts are really going to be the most annoying thing that you have to deal with. And really, they're almost impossible to deal with without a bow and arrow. Sure, you can smack their fireballs back at them, but that takes timing, and if you're on a laggy server, that can just be impossible. So bows and arrows are a really, really nice thing to bring with you as you head in on your journey. Next is flint and steel. Flint and steel is how you create fire. And if for some reason your portal gets blown up by the ghast and breaks, the only way to light, well, it's actually not the only way, but the easiest way to light it is with your flint and steel, so that you can get back out of the Nether, because it's an entire dimension. You'll be stuck there. If you do get stuck in the Nether, I recorded a whole other video about getting unstuck. It covers tons and tons of techniques on how to relight a portal that is broken if you do not have flint and steel. There are other ways to do it. It's just a lot more difficult, and flint and steel is the easiest way to get back out. Now, that does not mean that there's still other issues, and the biggest issue would be that you can't find your portal at all. So another thing that I suggest that you bring is obsidian. You need at least 10 obsidian to make a portal. A portal requires 2 blocks in width and 3 blocks in height. That is 1/2 of the portal. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 6, 7, 8, and then this could be just a temporary block, 9, and 10. There you go. So that is the minimum amount you need to have a portal in Minecraft. And if you cannot find your portal and your last ditch effort is just to create a portal and get back into the overworld, you need at least 10 obsidian. So make sure that you bring some obsidian if you are afraid that is going to happen. Next is Suspicious Stew. Suspicious Stew is fantastic because it can give you a whole bunch of different status effects, and specifically we want to look at fire resistance, because what is the main reason people die in the Nether? It's not normally mob attacks, because really, unless you accidentally hit a pigman, you're not normally dying to mobs. It's falling in lava is the main reason that you die. So if you have fire resistance, it totally negates all fire damage. So this is amazing. And obviously you're not going to brew a fire resistance. Well, maybe it's not obvious. I don't know. I'll tell you now. It should be obvious. Fire resistance potions, you can get a brewing stand from a village, because the villagers have that profession and they may have a brewing stand in one of the church looking buildings. But you need a magma cube, and magma cubes are only obtainable through the magma cubes. I meant a magma cream. You need magma cream in order to make the fire resistance potion. And so if you don't have the magma cream from the magma cubes, then you can't make a fire resistance potion. So your only other option is a Suspicious Stew with the allium flour. I can never remember how to say that flower. But anyway, this purple one that looks like a pom-pom, if you find that and put that into a suspicious stew, the effect will be fire resistance, which is exactly what you need. Suspicious stews, unfortunately, do not stack. There you go. That's all you got. So you don't need to make a ton of them. Really, these are just in case you happen to fall into fire. You have a few seconds, then you could kind of eat another one. You got a few more seconds of fire resistance, and then you move on. The strength is a thing that I have applied. That's ignore that side effect. On top of suspicious stew, the next thing that you really need is just food. Generally, whenever you have a situation where you're going to be losing a lot of heart or a lot of health, food is really the best thing to get all that back. I covered this in the end video, all the tips for the end, and food is just a requirement. So make sure you bring enough food for a very long journey. Next is a cauldron and some water in a water bucket. And this is the only way to get water in the Nether. By the way, if you don't bring your own obsidian, there's no way to make obsidian in the Nether because you can't place water down in the Nether. So it's another thing to keep in mind. But you can put water inside of a cauldron, which I'll do once we join the other side. And finally is torches. Torches are fantastic because this will allow you to basically light your way and have a trail, a breadcrumb trail back to your home. So that's all the prep done. I just want to point this out. This does work, that you can put a cauldron with some water inside of it. If you are on fire, there we go. Now I'm on fire and I run up. Wait, how do I not stay on fire? I'm on fire and I run over here and I jump in, and it does take a little bit of like working to do, but if you fall in, you can see that the water level went down 1. So you can only use this 3 times before you run out of water. Probably you're only going to need to use it once unless you're in a situation where you're always getting caught on fire for some crazy reason. So the water will go down 1 little amount every time that you put yourself out. Torches, while you don't really need the light in the Nether, you have a great way to find your way back to your portal as long as you put down a few torches every once in a while, maybe just even on the tallest sort of things as you run by. That way you can find your way back to wherever you came from. But before you go exploring, I have some tips once you jump into the Nether. First is the moment that you go through, open up F3 if you have it and take a screenshot of your coordinates. This is the foolproof way to make sure that you remember exactly where your portal is. If you're on Bedrock Edition, pull out your phone, take a photo of the show coords option. So do something in order so that you know your exact coordinates back to this portal. You believe me, you're not going to regret it. Another thing that a lot of people really like to do is to cover up your portal. And this is something that you should keep in mind, is that cobblestone has a blast resistance that is higher than what a ghast's fireball will cause. So cobblestone is basically indestructible to the ghast's fireballs, but netherrack is not. So netherrack will be broken with a ghast's fireball, but cobblestone will last. So if you're going to be making bridges or this sort of like shell on your portal, then using cobblestone is preferred. That way your ghast doesn't end up destroying any type of shield that you've made around your portal. So creating this type of building around your portal will ensure that nothing bad happens to it and that it doesn't get unlit and then you don't get stuck in the Nether. And what I've seen tons and tons of people do is they just avoid a door altogether, and they basically make a hallway of sorts. And I did that incorrectly. We don't need those. We just create this so that this wall does that, and that way a fireball cannot make its way inside of this build. There we go, I'm finished. So you have a little bit of a hallway, and that way you have no option. There's just no possibility of a fireball making its way into that portal area. Now that you have a nice shield for your portal, you have some torches lighting your way, just go and have fun, explore, get some glowstone, get some netherrack, get some nether quartz, and have a good time. Most people, when they come into the Nether, they're going to be looking for a fortress. I happen to know that there is a fortress pillar over here and that this is the start of a fortress. And there's really no rhyme or reason other than cheating when it comes to finding a Nether fortress quickly. Really, all you have to do if you're in survival and don't want to do any type of cheats is just to keep wandering around, but make sure that you have a trail back to the portal out so that you can easily leave the Nether after you have found the Nether fortress. Before we get into some tips about the Nether fortress, I do want to quickly mention a few other reasons why people die in the Nether. So people die because of lava, because there's all this crazy lava around, and they fall into it and they don't have fire resistance, and so they burn up that way. The next way that they die is because of falling and fall damage, because there's a lot of these situations where you only have a single block between you and a big fall. So my big tip for you guys is just to be careful. Be very, very, very careful whenever you are digging down around the Nether. Always know what is below you before you break a block, or break a block that you're not standing on, so that you can see what is underneath it before you step into that area. Another thing that people forget is that the Nether is filled with little lava pools. So inside of all of this, hard netherrack, this solid netherrack, is lava hidden. So you may, while you are digging, find yourself running into a little thing of lava, and that kind of ruins your day because you're just like walking and there it is. And if you happen to be causing a trail, lava moves much faster in the Nether because it moves just basically as fast as water does in the overworld. So you can see it really does move quickly whenever it has been released. So lava, fall damage, and then next would be accidentally hitting a pigman, because all of the pigmen will attack you once you accidentally hit a pigman. So avoid doing that at all costs. And then the last reason that they die is normally when exploring a Nether fortress, because the Nether fortress is where most of the more hostile mobs will generate. You have ghasts, which naturally spawn, blazes, pigmen, skeletons, and wither skeletons. Wither skeletons, in my opinion, are the more difficult of all of the mobs, because their effect can cut through any type of armor that you have. There is no withering, anti-wither armor effect, and like there is like with fire resistance, that sort of thing. You could carry some milk around with you, but I mean, come on, who does that? But wither skeletons do have one big disadvantage, and that is, holy moly, that is loud. And that is that they are 3 blocks tall. And so they cannot fit through a 2-block space. So if you constantly build bridges above your walkways, basically, and you can have a nice area to keep wither skeletons away from you as you are navigating inside of a fortress. I also use those cobblestone pathways to denote where I have been before. So it's like, okay, I've been over in this direction. I'm going to create a too tall gap for me to walk through, and that way I know everything behind that area I have explored already. And then if I round a corner and there happens to be a wither skeleton, then I can have a place there like a wither skeleton, oh my gosh, and then I put down a sort of situation like this. I'm gonna switch into survival. If they come at me, come on, and then they will always stop at this area. I can even punch them with my fist. Oh yeah, I forgot. I have a crazy amount of strength applied. Yeah, that's right. I can one hit all of y'all. That's right. Well, you saw it work. They got stopped by that nice little bridge above their head. There is, of course, an awful lot of great loot to be had inside of the Nether fortresses. This is why I feel like most people head to a Nether fortress, is to get all the loot from the chests here. It's the best place to get saddles and horse armor, and a really good place to find some diamonds as well if you're playing in a game type that is, you need diamonds quickly. There's some diamonds in these chests as well. And there you have it. Those are really all of my tips and tricks to make sure that you survive in the Nether and have a good time while you are wandering through the probably the scariest looking place in Minecraft. Thanks so much for watching this episode of OMG Craft. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give this video a big old thumbs up. Also, make sure you subscribe for future videos, tips, tricks, tutorials, and spotlights here on OMG Craft. And I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!